Good day, everyone. We are here to discuss the environmental crisis and sustainable development. Before formally start, let us introduce first the member of our group. Let me start first. I am JB Evangelio, leader of the group.
I'm John Yasrel Asarden Paes.
I'm Tristan Paul C. Gaba.
Ako po si Lawrence de Andal.
Ako si Jarek T. De Los Santos.
Ako nga pala si AGH Tabakero.
Joel Osmelio.
What is environmental crisis? A term that is used to describe the sum of the environmental problems that we face today. This phrase encompasses various issues such as climate change, deforestation, pollution, loss of biodiversity, overpollution, and the other challenges that collectively pose significant threats to the health and balance of the Earth ecosystems. The concept emphasizes the urgency of addressing this issue to ensure the sustainable and healthy future for the planet. The world's leading environmental problem. According to the Conserve Energy Future website, there are 13 environmental challenges that the world faces. 1. The depletion caused by industrial and transportation toxin and the plastic in the ground. The defilling of the sea, rivers, and the water beds by oil spills and acid rain. The dumping of the urban waste. Challenge in the global weather patterns, flash floods, extreme snowstorm, and the spread of deserts, and the surge in ocean and land temperatures leading to a rise in sea levels as the polar ice cap melt because of the weather, plus the flooding of many lowland across the world. 3. Overpollution. Exhaustion of the world's natural non-renewable resources from the oil reserve to mineral to potable water. 5. A waste disposal catastrophe due to the excessive amount of waste, from plastic to the food packaging to electronic waste, uploaded by communities in the landfills as well as on the ocean, and the dumping of the nuclear waste. 6. Destruction of million-years-old ecosystem and the loss of biodiversity, destruction of the coral reefs and massive deforestation that have led to the extinction of particular species and the decline in the number. 7. The reduction of oxygen and the increasing in the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because of deforestation, resulting in the rise in ocean acidity as much as 150% in the last 250 years. 8. The depletion of the ocean layer protecting the planet from the sun's deadly ultraviolet rays due to chlorofluorocarbons in the atmosphere. 9. Deadly acid rain as a result of fossil fuel combustion, toxic mechanicals from erupting volcanoes, and the massive rotting vegetable falling up garbage dumps of leaf on. 10. Water pollution arising from industrial and community waste residues seeping into underground water tables, river, and sea. 11. Urban sprawls that continue to expand as a city turns into megalopolis, destroying farmland, increasing traffic gridlock, and making smog cloud a permanent urban texture. 12. Pandemic and other threats to public health arising from waste mixing with drinks water, polluted environments that became breeding grounds for mosquito and disease-carrying rodents, and pollution. 13. Radical alteration of food system because of genetic modification in food production.
Man-made pollution. Example of man-made pollution. Human exacerbate other natural environmental problems in Saudi Arabia. Sandstorms combined with combustion, exhaust from traffic and industrial waste has led the World Health Organization to declare Riyadh as one of the most polluted cities in the world. It is this human contribution that has become an immediate cause of worry. Coal, fumes, coming out of industries and settling down in surrounding areas contaminated 20% of China's soil. With the rice lands in Yunnan found to have heavy metals from the mines threatening the food supply.
Example of man-made pollution. Greenpeace India reported that in 2015, air pollution in the country was at its worst, aggravated by Indian government's inadequate monitoring system. There are only 17 national air quality networks covering 89 cities across the continent. Furthermore, 94% of Nigeria's population is exposed to air pollution that the WHO warned as reaching dangerous level, while Gaborone, the capital of Botswana, is the seventh most populated city in the world. The emission of aerosol and other gases from car exhaust, burning of wood or garbage, indoor cooking, and diesel fuel, electric generator, and petrochemical plant are projected to quadruple by 2030.
Example of man-made pollution. Waste coming out of coal, copper, and gold mines flowing out into the rivers and ocean is destroying sea life or permeating the bodies of those which survive with poison. Mercury and in tuna prominently. The biggest copper mine in Malajkan in India discharged high level of toxic heavy metals into water stream, where in China. The tailings from the operation of the Sanxi Mangyao Ecological Mining Ltd, producing 12,000 tons of gold per year, have caused pollution and safety problems. 190 conditions in China have become very critical as the toxic byproducts of production processes are being produced much more rapidly than the earth can absorb. 191 meanwhile, for over a century, coal mines in West Virginia have pumped chemical-laden wastewater directly into the ground, where it can leach into the water table and turn what had been drinkable water into a poisonous cocktail of chemicals. The system goes back generation and could soon render much of the state water undrinkable. Thank you.
The model is the ideal modern society. It's the United States, which until the was a global economic power within a middle class that was the energy of the world. The United States, however, did not research the high power without serious environmental consequence to these very days. It's the most popular in the history of the world. Responsibility from 27% of the world's carbon dioxide emission. 16% of the carbon emission comes from cars, from smoke and soot from coal factories, forests, fires, as well as methylates released from the farm and breakdown of organic matter, paint, cesspool, and dust.
Climate change. Governments have their own environmental problems to deal with, but these states' ecological concerns become worldwide due to global warming, which transcends national boundaries. Global warming is the result of billions of tons of carbon dioxide coming from coal burning power plants and transportation. various air pollutants, and other gases accumulating in the atmosphere. These pollutants trap the sun radiation, causing the warming of Earth's surface. With the current amount of carbon dioxide and other gases, this greenhouse effect has sped up the rise in the world temperature. There is now a consensus that the global temperature has risen at a faster rate in the last 50 years, and it continues to go up despite efforts by climate change deniers that the world had cooled off in and around 1998. The greenhouse effect is responsible for recurring heat waves and long droughts in certain places, as well as for heavier rainfall and devastating hurricanes and typhoons in others. Until recently, California had experienced its worst water shortage in 1,200 years due to global warming. This changed recently when storms brought rain in the drought-stricken areas. The result, however, is that the state is having some of its worst flash floods in 21st century. In India and Southeast Asia, global warming altered the summer monsoon patterns, leading to intermittent flooding that seriously affected food production and consumption, as well as infrastructure networks. Category 4 or 5 typhoons like Super Typhoon Haiyan that hit the central Philippines in 2013 had doubled and even tripled in some areas of Southeast Asian basin. Scientists claim that there will be more of such typhoons in the coming years. In the eastern United States, the number of storms had also gone up, with Hurricane Katrina 2005 and Hurricane Sandy 2012 being the worst. Since human-made climate change threatens the entire world, it is possibly the greatest present risk to humankind.
Combating global warming. More countries are now recognizing the perils of global warming. In 1997, 192 countries signed in the Kyoto Protocol to reduce greenhouse gases. Following the 1992 United Nations Earth Summit, where a framework convention for climate change finalized, the protocol set targets left up to individual countries to determine how they would achieve this goal. While some countries have made a necessary move to reduce their contribution to global warming. The United States is the biggest polluter of the world, is not joining the effort. Developing countries lack funds implement the protocol quite as many of a needed international aid to get things moving. A 2010 World Bank report does conclude that the protocol only slight impact reducing global emission impact because of not binding nature of the agreement. The follow-up treaty to the Kyoto Protocol is the Paris Accord, negotiated by 195 countries in December of 2015. It seeks to limit the increase in the global average temperature based on the target goals and recommended by scientists. Unlike the Kyoto Protocol, which has predetermined CO emission limits per country, the Paris Accord provides more leeway for countries to decide on their nation targets. If largely passed international legislation, because emphasized consumer bonding, but it too clear whether this agreement will be made on success that the Kyoto Protocol. When these local alliances between the state, school, and communities are replicated at the nation level, the success becomes doubly significant. In Japan, population pressure forced the government to work with civil society groups, academia, and political parties to get a permanent to pass a multi-year supporting process. Once in, became known as a population diet of 1970. This regulation did not eliminate environmental problems, but today, Japan has some of the least populated cities in the world. The imperative now is for everyone to set up this kind of pollution on a global scale. For at this point, when government still hesitate in fully committing themselves to fight pollution and when international organizations still lack of power to enforce anti-pollution policies. Social coalition that boring in village association, academic and media, local and national governments, and even international aid agencies together may be only way to resolve this worsening situation.